And I didn't get to go to the office because they're, just so you ladies will know, because this is a good thing for you guys. And for me, it's just inconvenience that's being taken care of, but thank God. We had some new wire ran for the kitchen, and a new breaker box put in the kitchen so you don't have to plug stuff into classrooms and then heat it up. And so there wasn't any electricity in the church, and so for the last couple of afternoons. And so I was like, well, what am I going to do? I don't have an office at home. And so my notes are on my phone, and I can't find them. But it's okay. I know what I'm preaching, so it's okay. Amen. This all is going to be good. This past year, and I get to the end of the year, and I just start thinking about, kind of what we accomplished, what I didn't accomplish that I wanted to get accomplished. And I get toward the end of the year, and I start thinking about, it's easier for me to think about things I didn't do than the things that we did get accomplished. And one thing that I didn't get accomplished is I didn't get all of our staff together and have the meeting. I talked to our leadership, but I didn't get the staff together. And that's my fault, and I'm still working on that. I'm sorry. But this month, it is. This month has just been. Thank you. This month has just been a nightmare for my family and I. And we have it's just been horrid. And just one thing after another, after another, after another. And I guess it's all started the day my wife got hit in the van. And then it's just been like boom, 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 boom. Since then, it's been something seems like every week. There's been another major something to come up. And so I'll just give you an example. Naomi got hit in the van 2 months ago, I guess, so it'd be right at the end of September, 1st of November. And then that is drug out. Let me just tell you, if you want to get really mad, deal with insurance companies.
Amen.
And deal with the law of Oklahoma. I'll just tell you that this is what happened is Naomi was she's going east this way, to turn into the old car wash over by the hospital to pick Olivia up. And another car was coming out of the car wash, so a car that was going west stopped and left the car out and told Naomi, just come on. Well, a guy came around the car that was stopped and hit her as she was coming into the car wash. And so what happened with that was, they said that she failed to yield, even though the guy passed on the right and went around another car that was stopped. He was drunk, had no driver's license. He went to jail. It's still, our insurance is paying for his van to be fixed. Ours is, where's that look? And and then the police officer told our insurance agent, oh yeah, you can pass on the right. And I'm like, at what university can you pass on the right? And anyway, so it started with that. And so that's been an ongoing battle for how many weeks now? I've lost track. Just thanking God that Ava was sitting in the passenger seat, so and all the glass was all over Olivia and Ava. Naomi, nothing, but they weren't hurt at all, and so I thank God for that. Yes. No injuries there at all. But it's just started since then. And the wife of the lady, the wife of the man who hit Naomi, love her very much. Very sweet lady. Been part of my kid's life for the entire school life. And she came up to me in a basketball game and said, I just want you to know that's the best thing that ever happened to him because he hasn't drank since. And it took everything in me to say, I want you to know it's the worst thing possible ever happened to us. But I didn't, but I'm glad that he hasn't drank since, and then that's a good thing, and I never would say that to her and hurt her feelings or anything. But it takes something in you to just stop blow up, And so just starting from that incident, and it has just been a spiral in November, December. But that's okay. God's still God. Amen. And it's going to be okay. God never said you wouldn't have any trouble. He just said he'd take you through the trouble. That's right. God never said you would have a ridiculous law that you had to fight. He said He helped you fight. And so we're just believing that God's going to take some things and do some things that only God can do, right? And so we're just believing that God is still God, and God's going to do what He's going to do, and we're going to do what God says to do, and we're going to love people, and no matter what, it doesn't matter what goes on, we're just going to love people. And God's going to take care of that. And I'm still trying to find my scripture while I'm talking to you. And so I will get it. I will get it. I just can't remember what I saved it under. Isn't that sad when you save it and you think, oh, I'll remember that, and then you can't remember what you saved it under? But that's okay. It's all right. God's going to show me the way. And so just getting to that point, I get to that point and I just think, okay, here's the deal, God. I can't deal with anything else. And so you're going to have to start being God because I'm about to have to lose my mind. And so then my truck was broken for 23 days. My truck was down. And so I was driving the Crash Chrysler, delivering tortillas out of the Crash Chrysler. And I don't know if you know this or not, but you can't fit enough stuff in a Crash Chrysler to go deliver how much stuff I deliver. I know people think I just drive around the grocery store to put little stuff in there. That's not what I do. Walmart is a 4-hour job at a box truck, and it's not like I go in and put some chips on the shelf and leave. I go and it's a full 4 hours at Walmart, and so when you have to go back 3 times, go to Ada, back, Ada, back, Ada, back. You spend an hour, 2.5, 3 hours on the road just driving. It's just how it is. And I told God the other day, I said, God, either you're going to have to do something or I'm going to lose it. One of the two. Have you ever been there? Yes. You're going to have to do something, God, or I'm going to lose it. And so God begins to deal with your life. And God begins to deal with your, how you and you have to just find some time and you have to get yourself together. You have to find some time and you have to put yourself together and you have to say, you know what, God, here's the deal. I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust that you knew what I was going to go through and you have made provision for me. I'm going to trust that you know everything that goes on in my life and you know that if I make the right choices and I serve you and I do what I'm supposed to do, that I'm going to find myself and I'm going to trust you because God, you're the only one I can trust. Because if I can't trust Him, then I'm going to go ahead and lose my mind. And so God has been so faithful through all that mess, through all the stuff that I'm talking to you about today. And I'm just giving you a little insight. I don't ever tell anybody anything. And the reason I don't tell anybody anything is because God can handle it. Yeah. God can handle it. God's a good God, and He's just, He's just waiting for me just to turn over myself to Him and say, you know what, God, you have to do it because I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. And so I was talking to God the other day, and I said, God, I want to be out of this building. I want to be out of this building. Amen. Amen. I love this whole building. I do. I have more of an attachment to it just because it's, I guess, more romanticized attached to it than I do anything else. It's just an old building. It's just sentimental. That's it. That's the word. Sentimental. I love the old pews. They crack and pop when you sit on them. I love it. I love that crack and pop. I do. It sounds like yeah. But I was gonna say, it sounds like when we all sit down at when I say be seated, it sounds like a bowl of Rice Krispies. I love it. That's probably the body has her knees. But I said, God, I want to be out. I want to go. I want to do ministry. I feel like we're being held back in some areas. Because, like tonight, not tonight, but usually on Wednesday night, we don't have enough room. We have more kids up the street than we have in here usually. And that's just sad, but it's true. I feel like we're being held back by some things that I feel like we could do ministry out of. I feel like you deserve the best place in the world to go to church. I believe that you deserve to have a nice place for God to come and to minister to you in, and something you can be proud of. And I'm not saying you're not proud of your church. I'm just saying that you could, that God, you can say, this is what God gave us. And this is how God, I said, God, I just need to be out. And I want to be out by 2018. I want to have something. It's like, God, we haven't gotten any traction over on John Street at all. I mean, we've gotten $300,000 saved, and God has just blessed us with that. We've got $300,000 sitting in the bank waiting for God to open up another door. You know, and, we have doors that are opening. And I'm not at liberty to say everything about some things, but I am telling you that God has opened some other opportunities, and God is moving in that area. I don't want you to get weary in well-doing. I want you to know that God is still in control of that. There's just some things I want to see that this next coming up year that I really feel like God would have us to do. I really feel like God would have us to move into another realm of ministry. Not just come to church, but minister to the city. I've preached it for 5 years. I've tried to live it for at least 6. But I preached it for, I know, at least 5, that we minister to the entire city, not just to our families. There's so many times that we get so wrapped up in just our family. If they can't come to something, then we have to reschedule it. No. It's not just about our families. It's about what's good for the church, not just what's good for me. And sometimes we look at things and say, but I'm trying to reach my family. I understand that. I understand we're trying to reach our families. I have a family too, and I have kids that I want to make sure that they have a relationship with God. You've heard me say more than once, I want them to have a God relationship, not a church relationship. I don't want them just to go to church and not ever hear God's voice. And I want them to be able to hear God's voice, and I want them to take up God's plan and God's ministry. I want them to be used of God, and not just simply come to church until they get out of mom and daddy's house, and then they don't darken the church door until they get in trouble. I don't want them to be in a pastor's house all their lives. I asked my kids one time, I said, is it weird that I preach? And they said, Dad, that's all we've ever seen. See, to me it'd be weird. But to them, that's their life. I want them to grow up to be good men and women of God, which I hope that they are. And I want them to just be a blessing. And I tell you this, I'm just sharing a few things with you because I want you to understand where I'm coming from. Is that God is moving in an area of our life. God is moving in an area of our church. We have several, how do I say this? Several pods of people. When you say that, that's what I mean. We have the old school temple appraisers that have been here as long or longer than I've been here. We have that group. We have the group that's been here about 6 years now, and we have the group that are just coming. So we have all these groups. We have another group that are on the fringe. Somebody asked me about our church the other day, and I said, we have a great core group of people. And then I said, just like every other church, we have the fringe that show up sometimes, and sometimes they're not. And then you talk to them, and they'll show up for a couple of weeks, and then you don't see them for a couple of weeks, and you talk to them again, they'll show up for a couple of weeks. And so we have that fringe still, but we have that core group that are so. We have the 3 groups that are the core. We have the ones that have been here forever, the ones that have been here for 6 years, and the ones who have just newly started coming. And we have those people. And I can show you all the ones that I can tell you names, but you should know who I'm talking about or what I'm talking about. Because some of you that have been here for 40 years, you know that you've been here for 40 years. And some of you have been here for 6 years, know you've been here for 6 years. And there's those that are missing tonight that have been coming for about a year to 6 months. And they haven't really gotten plugged in, but they haven't really unplugged either. They're just kind of here. The Lyles, number one. The Lyles, they're a wonderful family. They're a wonderful man and wife. They come from We Woke Up. They're here every Sunday morning. That's the only time you ever see them, Sunday morning. And I talk to them. They just love the church. They love coming, but they're not really plugged in, you know. And you talk to Eunice and what's her daughter's name? Sherry. Every Sunday morning, but you won't see them again until Sunday morning.
I keep trying.
I know. And then we have, but that's just how it is. But God's moving in that area to where the ones that have been here for a long time, we need to adjust who we are and kind of reach out a little bit. Because it's easy to just, it's easy to be with David and Lisa and Dean and Buster and Michael, and it's easy to be with those guys because I've known them all my life, and Jim, Juanita, and all those guys that have been here forever. And I walk in and it's just comfortable. It's just home. And then I have like Andy and Kim. It's easy to be just myself with Andy and Kim because I've known them for I don't know how long time, 15 years. I've known them a long time, and they've been coming to church here for 5 years now, or close, and 4 or 5 years. And it's just easy to. And it's just easy, just be myself. For Sister Phyllis and Brother Joe, they've been coming now for a year, 2 years, and it's just easy. It's easy, but it's not easy sometimes for those that we haven't known for. Brother Billy's been coming, I don't know, for a while, and it's easy to be ourselves around people we're really familiar with. Like tonight, I had no idea what they were going to play or sing. Doesn't matter. We played and sang those songs for 40, 30 years. And so it's not hard. They just tell me what song and we just play it. Because I know where they're going. Because I'm just familiar with them. And so Brother Tommy back there, I've known Brother Tommy. He's in my family. He's married into my family 2 ways. I couldn't get rid of Tommy if I tried to. Okay? Tommy is married to my niece's sister-in-law. Okay? That's one way. All right? Tommy's sister is married to my brother. We're kind of inbred, but not really. Okay? So Tommy is married into my family 2 ways, or I'm married into his family 2 ways, however you want to look at that. But I broke all that down because I want to share with you that God is trying to do some things in our lives. But we've got this coming up here. We've got to get serious about ministry. And not just come into church. I know it takes a lot, and I've got to reevaluate some of the things in my life. I've got to reestablish some things in my life. I've got to reestablish some stuff in me. Quit being so distracted. I get very distracted because I have a lot of stuff going on, and there's a lot. It was easy when there was 45 people and I was the pastor doing the mission tortilla thing. That was easy. Lord, anybody could do that. But when you double that and then triple that, it's not as easy anymore. It's not as easy anymore. And that's where I'm going to depend on our groups more. I need you. I need our group leaders to lead. I need them to, and that's where I've got to be a better leader of trying to get us all together on the same page and lead. What I was going to talk to you about is picking up the pieces and moving on. Picking up the pieces and moving on. When Jesus fed the 5,000, he made them all sit in groups, right? Remember, he made the disciples sit them down. And he made them sit down in groups of, was it 50s and hundreds and thousands, right? Is that correct? Something like that. Isn't that correct? And he had them sit down because the people were there, and the disciples said, it's getting dark, and we don't have enough food to feed everybody. You need to send them away. And Jesus said, well, you feed them. And we don't have any food to feed them. We got a little boy's got a fish sandwich. And that's what we got. And Jesus said, well, you need to feed them, so sit them down. And so when I'm talking to you for just a few minutes tonight, and I may not keep you forever, I don't know how long I'll keep you for a little bit. But what I'm going to speak to you about is what we don't need, we need to leave, and what we do need, we need to take up the fragments of. What we need to leave, we need to leave. But what we don't need, we need to leave them alone and just go on. If you'll turn over to Mark chapter, I believe it's Mark chapter 8. Mark chapter 8, we're going to start with, let's start with verse 17. Somebody left. They got mad left. That steel door. You know, if everybody goes out that steel door, let me give you a little secret. If you'll lift up and shut it slowly, it doesn't do that. And if you just slam it, it does that. Just so next time you're going out the metal door, lift it up. And now with 11, there you go. See, Kevin went out the metal door, there he is in front. There you go. Amen. Start with verse 17. And when Jesus knew it, he said to them, why reason ye because you have no bread? That's not the right scripture. That's it. That's going to be. It's going to work. I'm telling. I apologize. I don't know what I've done with mine. I can't find it. I've lost it. Why reason ye because ye have no bread? Receive ye not yet, neither understand. Have ye in your heart yet hardened? Having eyes to see, see ye not? And having ears, hear ye not? And do not remember when I break the 5 loaves among the 5,000, how many baskets full ye took up?
12.
And he said unto them, 12. This isn't the scripture I wanted, but this is going to be the one I'm going to use. We stand here and we come to church, and we've been coming here for a long, long time. I'm 40. I'll be 49 in 2 weeks. I'll be 49 years old. I've been coming here for 49 years, except for the time I chose not to. And so I've come here, and except for the time I was in Ada. And so I know that I understand what it means to be in a place and be established, and just know the routine.
Yeah.
I know how to get along. I've been in the attic. I've been under the floor. I've been in every place you can be in this church and to get a body in. I've been there because I was the skinny boy back in the day. And so Brother Turner said, "You get your skinny self out of there, get that." And so we'd have to go we'd have to crawl underneath the stuff, do the stuff. And we have to get up in the attic when it was 9 million degrees in the air. You think it's hot here? It's hot here because there's no insulation and it's hot. Okay? And so we get up in the attic. We've been every aspect of this church. I know this church building intimately. I know. I knew before we had the fellowship hall that's on there now. That wasn't even there. That was outside. Jamie's classroom was the kitchen. Sister Norma's classroom was the fellowship hall. It was all one big room. It was a little, well, there's all big little room, okay? And so I know this place intimately, but this place is not everything that God has promised us. This was a great starting place. But why did we get so busy and wrapped up in the stuff that we didn't go further than just starting? I remember in 2011, God gave me a 5-year plan and said, I want this done. And in 5 years, I got most of the things done. I didn't get them all done. And I look back and I say, God, why didn't I accomplish what it is that I wanted to get this done? And I can find some reasons why, and I can tell you, I'm not pointing a finger at anybody but myself. I'm very hard on myself, and I'm very, I expect a lot from me. I expect greater from me than I expect from you. That may not be fair, but that's how I am. That's how I'm wired. And so I'm telling you that there's some reasons why things didn't get accomplished. And the scripture that says, and you guys can help me out, that says you did run well. What kept you from running or something in that area? There's some things that happen in your life, and what happens is you get busy with stuff and you forget about the mission. And the mission is to do what God's called me to do. And Moses, Moses, he got worried about the people and forgot about the mission. And he got worried about the people, and the people ticked him off, so he hit the rock instead of spoke to it. And it cost him. And so you get so wrapped up in what you're doing, you forget about what the real point, the real goal is, and that is the ministry of what God has called us to do. And so when I stand here tonight, I want to just share a few things with you that sometimes we forget that God has called us to a greater thing, and we get started, and this is a great starting point, but it's time to leave the starting block. Amen? It's time to leave the starting block behind. I don't know if you've ever been in track or you've ever ran in track, but the starting blocks don't stay in the middle of the track. Somebody removes them after the runner has ran. You can't just hurdle over the starting blocks when you come back through at the start finish line. When you're running the track, somebody has already come out while you're running and removed the starting block so it's not a hindrance to you. Are you with me? We that have been here for 40 years need to remove the starting block that we're not a hindrance to those who are running. Are you with me?
Amen.
You catch my drift? Kevin went back in the metal door because he did not take the advice of lifting up and shutting it slowly. He's hindering me. Okay? And so, I'm just kidding. And so what happens is that those who are running with us, if we don't remove the starting block becomes a stumbling block. What do you mean by that, Brother Jeff? Explain that to me. This is what I mean. We are so set in our ways. I'm talking to us. I'm loving on y'all. Okay? We are so stuck. Oh, it was Rick this time. Okay, and so we're so stuck in the way we used to do ministry. Now I know that I've talked to you guys enough that I know that you're willing to do whatever we need to do. I mean, I get it. But we're so stuck in ministry. That's just the way we do it. And I evaluate myself every week. I do. I know you guys don't believe this, but I'm very hard on me. And I evaluate what I do, and I'll evaluate what I do tonight, and I will take and I will watch this video, and I will say, well, that was stupid, don't ever do that again. And I'll say, you didn't really finish that point right there, you need to stay on track, you need to do whatever. And so I'm very difficult on myself because I want to be the very best I can be, because I believe that God's called us to be the best we can be, not just okay. Preach on, preach it. Leave it with. I don't believe God ever said, and it was okay. He didn't find just somebody and say, hey, yeah, I really need a Messiah. You think you want to do it? I guess. No. He sent his best. His best. Not the angel Sam. But he sent his best. And so God always sends his best. And I know people always say, well, that's just the best I can do. Is it really? Is it really? Because it's the best that you can do right now. Well, this is going over great. It's the best that we can do right now. It's not the best that we can do. I look, and Kim, and I'm such a kindred spirit with Kim about our kids that come to this church. It's the best that we can do right now, but it's not the best that we can do. I'm such a kindred spirit with David and Lisa and whoever all helps with Remnant. Because if it wasn't for Remnant, nothing with this church would get done. I should say nothing. A lot of things wouldn't get done. That's right. Because they are so willing to do anything. Let me do it, let me do it, let me do it. Okay, you're doing 12 things, let somebody else do it. Okay, and so, but they're so willing to do anything. I'm such a kindred spirit with them because I absolutely enjoy people who want to serve. I enjoy people that want to serve. I enjoy being around people that want to serve. I enjoy that. I love, I worked in restaurants when I was a kid, and man, you just become a team and like a family. And I'm in high school. I'm a sophomore in high school, and my friends are all graduated, and so my family and my friends become these 45-year-old women who are waitresses at the Chuck Wagon restaurant. Because I'm there washing dishes, and we sit around and they're smoking cigarettes and talking about what's going on, and I'm this little kid just listening because of my family. Because we're serving. We become a team of servants. And I learned a lot by sitting around listening to these older women who smoking cigarettes talking about these men they're jerks. Okay? I learned a whole lot about how to be a servant. Because number one, as the dishwasher guy, you're the lowest guy on the totem pole. But what they don't realize, if they don't have a clean glass, they ain't getting a tip. You know what I'm saying? And so we anyway, they love me. I was just a little kid, and they love me, and me and my friend, Most of them are probably the worst dishwashers ever in the history of dishwashing. But we did it because, you know, it was money. And they had to give us part of their tips at night. They hated it. But it was great. Okay, but listen, I said all that to say this. It's not the best that we can do. It's the best we can do right now. But we don't ever try to improve. We won't know what the best is that we can do. We won't know. Let's get back to Scripture. So, see, I'm going to watch this video and say, where were you going, you jerk? Okay, so here's the deal. Here's the deal. Jesus said to remember when he broke the loaves and he fed the 5,000. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. I think I mentioned this the other day, and I never had thought of it this way until I heard somebody preach it, and I probably said their name who preached it, but I don't remember. What they said is, where did the baskets come from? Because nobody had anything, so why would they have baskets? I don't know. That's a great question. And the preacher that preached it, I don't know who it was, he said, do you think that maybe Jesus knew he was going to need 12 baskets? And he put the baskets in the boat before they ever left to go to the other side? I don't know. I can't prove that scripturally that he did that. Nothing says that he put 12 baskets in the boat. Nothing says that. But what the scripture does say is somehow miraculously there were 12 baskets to pick up the fragments. Somehow there were baskets. And these people were just walking and following after Jesus on the other side. So I don't know why they would have baskets, but it doesn't really matter where the baskets came from. It's just things that I find interesting. And so Jesus said, do you not remember when I broke the 5 loaves among the 5,000, how many baskets you took up? And they said, oh, he took up 12. And he said, yeah, really. You took up 12 fragments of 5 loaves. Now I gave you, I believe, did I give you 5 entities of this church? I gave you the old school, the new guys, the guys that are trying to tweeners, the youth, and who else? I should have given you 5. See, huh? Fringe, yes, fringe. Because it's in my notes, but who knows what it is. Okay, and so, and the fringe. 5. 5 loaves, 5 elements of this church. And Jesus begins to break the elements of the church. For what reason? To feed the multitude. So we have to understand exactly who we're dealing with here. We're dealing with a Jesus who knows how to take and break the loaves to feed the 5,000. He knows how to take the old school guy like me and say, listen, I need you to feed the 5,000 and put me in a place that I can. He can take the newer school guys like Kim and Andy and say, I need you to feed the 5,000. He can take the really new school guys like the Lyles and say, I need you to feed the 5,000. He can take the fringe and say, I need you to start volunteering that you can begin to feed the 5,000. And then we get to the youth department and say, we need you to learn how to feed the 5,000. And then all of a sudden, all those things that Jesus begins to break up. And excuse me for just a second, I just have to ask David and Lisa something. Do you guys have like a liver or something? They have an ice chest over here. It's like one of those medical ice chests.
It's camping.
Okay. It's just kind of freaking me out. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm sorry, and I'll get on to myself in just a minute. Okay, listen. It's kind of freaking me out. All right. So, So we have 5 elements of the church, and there's 5 loaves, and all those loaves were broken in the fridge that we have to pick up. So we have to take up the pieces and move on. Are you with me?
Yes.
I'm trying to tread lightly, if you notice, because I want to make sure that I get this across. Jesus fed the 5,000, but he made the disciples serve him. We forget that part of the story. We think that Jesus went around and just gave out fish and bread. That's not what happened. Jesus blessed it and broke it. And the disciples served it. So everybody sitting here tonight, you're going to have to serve. Whether you want to or not want to. But to be in the plan of God, we have to serve. Because what Jesus does is he brings people to us who are hungry, who have no way to feed themselves, are broken, have no shelter, have nothing they can do to help themselves. Jesus brings those people, he attracts those people, is that a better way? He attracts those people, but he has a leadership team called disciples to help take care of the situation. And so what happens is this: when those people come to Jesus, they don't know anything or how to do anything, and it's up to us to say, yeah, well, if you'll sit down here, I've got 5 loaves and 2 fish, and we're going to feed you in just a second. I've got bread for you, I've got meat for you, and if you'll sit down for a minute and you'll learn how to do something, here's the most important thing to learn. Sit down. Sit down. I went to a school function today. I don't know if we have just lost any kind of manners,
Yes, sir.
any kind of common sense, any kind of whatever. But I believe the parents and the grandparents need Ritalin when they come in. So they'll sit down. Our kids are trying to sing. There's people walking in. This one dude, I guarantee you, he left and went outside at least 6 times. What are you? Boom. I mean, what are you doing? You know, I wanted to trip him so bad I couldn't hardly stand myself. And so I just, at least 6 times. I don't understand. Then the principal at the end of the conversation, at the end of the concert says, parents and grandparents, if you would please just wait. We're going to dismiss our students first and let them go. Would you guys please clear the hall and let them go, and then you guys can be dismissed so they can get to their classrooms and you can go pick them up. As soon as the students start exiting, well, let's go. Everybody starts walking out. I'm like, you guys are idiots. I don't understand. They need Ritalin. The grandparents and the parents are worse than the kids. It was just ridiculous. I don't understand. So one of the greatest things we can accomplish in our lives is to learn to sit. Because if we don't learn how to sit and be in the presence of the Lord, how can God ever do anything for us and serve us if we can't sit? It's amazing to me. I don't want everybody to get upset with me about that. And listen, I know some people had to go to work, and I get it. They just left long enough to go to see their kids sing and left. I get that. But not 500 people had to go back to work. Looking at some of them, they've never been to work. Okay, so listen. Check, 1, 2. Okay, and so work is a 4-letter word. Okay, so here, listen. So Jesus has them to make them sit. Here's where again we get into the rub. I ain't sitting down because Jeff said to. I ain't sitting down because Tommy asked me to. I ain't sitting down because Dean said sit down. I ain't sitting down because Billy told me to sit. Well, don't get served then. Because if they didn't sit, they didn't get served. Jesus told them to sit in the grass. He said there's grassy places here. Make them sit in the grass. Let them have a little comfort. And so they went in there, and then Jesus had them go sit in the grass in companies of people they could handle. Now, I don't know who served the most people. The Bible doesn't say. I don't know if Peter couldn't handle it any more than 50, so Jesus said, here's 50, then we'll have a bunch of dead people. I don't know. Because Peter started cutting people's ears off and stuff. So I don't know what's going on with it. But hear me. Here's the deal. But somehow, some way, they had to sit down to be served. But I want to go back to ministry under my pastoral. Sometimes I'm not very good at giving you a plan of how to make them sit. And so I'm getting better because I'm telling you I'm going to be better. I'm going to be the best pastor this church has ever had before it's over with. Now, I may kill all of you before it's over with, but I'm going to be the best one at this church because I strive for it. I want to be. I want to be the best pastor that's ever been, ever in the history of pastors. Now, I don't know if that's ever going to be accomplished, but that's my goal. That's what I want. And so I've got to get better at giving you, see, because Jesus gave them a plan. Go sit them down. And this is how I want you to sit them down. And me, This is how I would react. You guys, I'm just telling you the truth, okay? Here's how I react. Why can't they make them sit down like they're supposed to? They know better than just tell them to sit down. Instead of me giving you a blame and say, go sit them down. I would get frustrated at you for not having them sit down when I didn't even tell you to go sit them down. That's just truth. But I'm getting better. Right? I'm going to get better, right? I stink and y'all don't, but I'm going to get better, right? Okay. And so that's how I saw leadership in the church. And that's how I saw it. I never saw anybody go, okay, we got a plan. Here's what we're going to do. This is how we're going to pull this off. I never saw that. That was never established in my spirit. You know what I saw? Well, go get it done. Go figure it out. Okay. And that's what I did. And that's not a crack at my pastor at all. That's just how he did things he's still doing it that way, I guarantee you. If I go to his church tonight, he told whoever's in charge of something, go get it done. That's how he told him to do it. And so, but that has to be established. Boom, 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 boom. This is how we're doing it. And so me, as a man who's been here for 40 years, 48 years, whatever, and I've been here for whatever, it's easy to fall back into we'll just go get it done. Oh, they know how to do it. Oh, they'll figure it out. Yeah, but in the meantime, there's a plane crash and people are dying because they're trying to figure out how to fly. And all I had to do was tell them, if you push that button, you're going to crash. Don't push that button. Push this one. Amen? So I'm trying to figure it out. See, I made Andy mad. Love you. I'll do this. But listen, here's the deal. Are they already done? They already done?
Yes.
Jeez. Please. Okay. All right. Here's the deal. I'm trying to get better because I want to be the best we can be. I want us not to be the best we can be right now, but I want us to be the best we can be. I started out this little exhortation by this, that God is opening doors and God is doing things and God is making ways. But there's ways that you don't even have any idea about yet that I'm not at liberty to even say. That's not so I can say, haha, I know something you don't know. I know something you don't know. I'm going to just throw it out there. As soon as I establish it, I can even go pursue it. Okay? But I want to ask you a question. Are you married to here? Do you have to stay here? I'm asking you for real. Do you have to? Okay. Do you have to stay any place, or can we just go where God opens the door? Depends on what the door is, right? Depends on what the door is, right? It depends. I want to ask you a question for real. Are you prepared to maybe God does some things that I didn't see because they weren't available? But now they're becoming available? Are you prepared that maybe God's doing, taking us to a promised land that I thought we were going this way, but God is taking us that way, and I'm trying to fight and go this way? Hello? I'm trying to go this way because I want to go this way. Because I've had my mind set up the whole time, we're going this way. Are you with me? Or can we just be open in the next year to where God leads? I want to be where God leads us. Because if I'm not, I'm going to find myself walking in the wilderness for 40 years. When I should have just walked straight to the promised land and took on the giants. And just took it on. I've been pastor now for 6.5 years. 6.5 years. That's long enough. You should know by now. You should trust me by now, or why are you here? Amen. If you don't trust me by now, you don't know me by now, you don't know what my heart is by now, and you've been here with me the entire time, that's right. You'll never know me. Because if I'm not the pastor that you need, then please go find the one you need, because I want you to be happy in your walk with God. I don't want you to be miserable in your walk. I want you to be excited about living for God. I want you to be excited about doing what God's called you to do. And I want you to be excited to get behind whatever the vision is that pastor has. And don't go, I don't know why he does that stuff. That's what I know my heart. I don't know why he always says, would you please open your heart larger? This is what God laid on my heart. I invited a young man to church today. I invited him and his husband to come. But I love him. He's a good man. And he said, I'll think about it. I said, listen, you know me. I'm not going to make it comfortable for you, but I'm not going to be picking on you either. I'm not going to change what I preach.
Amen.
But he's a good young man.
Preach Jesus.
And he needs to get in God's house.
Absolutely.
He knows better to not be in the house of God. He knows to be in the house of God. He grew up in God's house. He knows. Now, I don't know anything about his husband. Met him once. He's a good guy. But you know what? God is still. And see, if I said that to some of our, and I probably made some of y'all mad if I invited him. But if I said that in some of our churches, I'm going to hell. I know, but I'm not. That's what they'd say. That I'm going to hell for inviting them. I'm telling you, man. You know my heart. Red, yellow, black, and white. Gay, lesbian, straight. They need to hear about Jesus. Jesus. It's all about Him. It's all about Him. I started this scene, I'm going to be mad at myself because I got off again. But I'm going to tell you, as pastor, for 6.5 years, as pastor, I have preached and preached and preached. It's not us against them. It's us for them.
Amen. Yes.
We're supposed to have the answer. And if we don't have the answer, then we need to shut up. But we're supposed to have the answer to the question. That's why I'm preaching this series. Why? Just trying to answer questions that people ask me. I'm simple questions. They're not like some real deep theological study. It's not like we're just digging deep into what the word as means. In the Greek it means as. In the Hebrew it means as. In the English it means as. And so we're not trying to get real deep and all that. I'm just trying to answer questions that people ask me as they know I'm a preacher and a pastor, they go to church, and they ask me questions of why do I have to be saved? I think the church ought to know why we need to be saved.
Right.
I think we need to know that. I think we need to know whether tongues are relevant for today's church. We need to know that. If you don't believe that, I'm sorry. I think we need to know why we get water baptized or we're baptized. I think we need to know why we believe in all those things. I think we need to know that. And God began to deal with me on that. I was like, God, I ain't doing that. That's too simple. You know, we always want to get real theological, get real deep. You know, about deep as a puddle anyway. Don't matter. You know? Don't matter. But what I know, I know. What I know, I'm not afraid of. And we need to dig deep and know what we believe. Amen. I'm sorry, I got off track. I said I want to get back on track, and I want to finish this up with this. There's some things in our past we need to leave in the past.
Amen.
But there's some things in our past we need to carry with us. The judgmental stuff we need to leave behind. And nobody can be saved but us. We need to leave behind. What do you mean? If you don't look like me, talk like me, act like me, walk like me, have the same haircut as me, then you can't be saved. We need to let the junk behind. Can't everybody part their hair on the right side? Because not everybody has enough hair to part on the right side. Okay, so we get, so we need to not worry about that. Okay, and we don't need to worry about stuff that God's going to take care of. We need to get their soul saved and let God deal with them and start discipling people and not just saying, well, they got saved, that's all they need to know. Well, work yourself out because you have to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. That is such a cop-out. You know what that means? I don't have time to mess with you, so you're on your own. That's what that means. That's what it means to me. I don't know what it means to you. That's what it means.
Right.
The truth of the matter is that Jesus told us to disciple people. Go make disciples. Teach them. I think I've said this before, but I'm going to finish up with this. Craig Rochelle fascinates me. Just the sheer fact that, David will know this guy, Nick Harris. Okay. Nick Harris was Craig's pastor. Okay. Did you know the story about there were three ministers? There was Craig and two other guys. One of the men killed himself. The other was killed in a tragic accident, and Craig's the only one left of the three. And Nick Harris so put in them to disciple people.
Yes.
Look what happened. And I'm not saying they're the end all and be all of churches. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this: you may like that style of church, you may hate that style of church. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other what your preference is. I don't care. That doesn't bother me. But here's what I want to get across. When you step into a live church, I don't care if it's in Edmond, I don't care if it's in Florida, I don't care if it's in Shawnee, I don't care where it is, it's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same. When you walk in, there's people greeting you. When you walk in, it's the same. If I drive 12 miles from here and go to the Pentecostal Church of God in Tecumseh, it's different. The way we do ministry is different. The songs we sing are different. Everything we do is different. If I drive another 20 miles and go to the countryside, I'll walk in there and it's different. Okay? Different's not always bad, but here's where I'm trying to go with that. Is that we don't join with each other, we compete with each other. Where how they have built that massive church is they join with each other and they don't compete with each other. They join with each other and do ministry together, and that widens their scope of ministry. Instead of saying, well, I go to Temple of Praise and they go to Meeker. Like it's some kind of competition. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Okay. Because y'all looking at me like, I just wish you'd hire us because I'm going to go eat somewhere. Okay, but instead of just competing with each other and say, well, hey, we had 105 in Sunday school. Oh yeah, well, we had 135. Oh yeah, well, we had 205. No, what they do is say, we had all those numbers combined. That's what we had at Life Church. That's what they do. And so, and before you say, well, yeah, we're all separate entities. I know that. We're all supposed to be Pentecostal Church of God. Pentecostal Church of God churches are what we're supposed to be. But we don't combine with each other. We compete against each other. And I think that's been a downfall of us reaching and having a wide scope in towns and cities and areas, is because we compete and put each other down for our differences instead of coming together and discipling and showing people how we're supposed to do things. Wrap it all up in a bow, Jeff, get off, and then, yes sir, I'm doing it. Here it is. I started off by saying, we have to leave the 12 baskets, we have to take the 12 baskets and we have to go forward with the 12 baskets. Jesus didn't say, I'm going to give you 5 loaves and 2 fish, and I'm going to leave you with a half loaf and a half a fish, and take that forward. What he said was, I gave you 5 loaves and 2 fish, and all the fragments, pick them up because there's 12 baskets. Now you don't just have a little boy that can carry everything. You need people to carry the baskets to carry into the future. Because what happened was, that was the past. He set them down in the past. They ate in the past. They wiped their faces. They all took a nap. It was all good. It was a Sunday afternoon. The preacher had preached. They had eaten their fish and their bread. They had cleaned up the meal. And Jesus said, okay, let's go to the future. Take the 12 baskets. So what happens is this, is we've got to go into the future of ministry, and we've got to take what we had in the past.
There you go.
Come on now.
Yeah.
What did we have in the past? Prayer, number one.
Right.
We've got to take prayer with us. There's no substitute for prayer. I don't care how good a musician you are, or a good singer. It doesn't matter. Nothing is better than prayer.
Amen.
I don't care how good of a preacher you are. If you don't pray, your preaching is trash. Because there's nothing on what you're saying. It's just simply words. I could give an example of that, and maybe you've seen one tonight. I don't know. But listen. Oh, that's up crap. So listen. We're going to take those 12 baskets that the Lord gave us and move them into the future. And step another step into the future. Because we've already been there. We've already eaten the fish. We've already eaten the bread. But there's a family out here that are starving for fish and bread. But as long as we hold on to our fish and bread, we're fat, dumb, and happy.
Yes.
While a family starves for what we have. Does that make any sense? Okay. And so it's our job to not just leave the 12 baskets, but take the fragments and move forward and do what God's called us to do. Be what God's called us to be. I'm so tired of saying that. I'm just saying it. Do what He's called us to do. Be where He's called us to be. And follow after Him, because I'm trying my very best to follow after Christ. I want to be the best. And I started off by telling you that it's easy for me to look back and say, okay, I didn't accomplish that. I didn't accomplish this. I didn't accomplish that. And I forget that what we did accomplish.
Yes.
We have been now some 6.5 years of being up in attendance. Our money is down this year. I don't know why. I don't have any idea. Money and finances are down several $1,000s, about $40,000 from what it was last year. A lot of that has to do with people losing sight of vision of, hey, we're not going to do anything. I'm not giving to something we're not doing anything to. So I give all my before God, and I say, okay, God, I got to have something. Something's got to break. Something's got to open. Something's got to do something. Then all of a sudden, God begins to move. God begins to move. I didn't mean to bring you down tonight. I just want to share my vision a little bit. It's time to take the baskets. How many handles do most baskets have? 2. I wonder why that is. So you can carry it wide, so everybody can see how big you are? No. So you can grab one side, somebody else can grab one side, and you can carry it together. We got this. We got this. We have everything we need to be successful. I preached this when Pastor Turner was pastor here. I preached it in 1994, 5, 6, 7, in that area. That I believe we have everything in the cabinet that we need to bake the cake.
Yeah.
We just keep putting the ingredients in the wrong amounts and in the wrong place. We have the right butter, we have the right milk, we have the right flour, we have the right sugar, but we just keep getting the wrong amounts and the wrong time, and this oven's not on. But we have the oven, we have the ingredients, we have everything we need to make the best cakes. We do. I look at this church and I don't ever see anything. We're not lacking anything.
That's right. You're right.
We have it. We have it.
Amen.
We just need to step into it. And we need to take our baskets and move forward. You notice they didn't leave the baskets in the wilderness, and they didn't leave the baskets in the boat. They took them with them. It's time to take our baskets and move forward. Can you musicians, if you guys that play music, would y'all come up here?